A good liminal space is defined by two factors, the image's liminality and the anxiety it evokes. Let's start with liminality. This is often a combination of nostalgia and the feeling that reality is altered or not right. An image is liminal when it's in a state that is not meant to be examined. Our brains are hardwired for context and story, while liminal spaces lack any type of context. There must be a reason why this subway is flooded, and why does this interior look so familiar even though I have never visited it. A single image won't answer any of those questions. Then we have the other, slightly less important factor. In my opinion, a good liminal space creeps me out, without it containing many classical horror elements. The feeling of being watched is the most prevalent. No one is watching us in these images, but something tells us otherwise. A feeling of unease and sadness washes over us, as a liminal space captures the past, a time when everything was better. You get to experience the brightness, or perhaps the darkness, of the childlike wonder the world once inhabited. Some liminal spaces make you feel safe, and some make you feel so safe that you don't feel safe at all. Some are terrifying. I wanted to try to visualize this idea, so I made the Liminal Space Alignment chart. It includes an array of 25 images and media collections, and they are ranked based on their liminality and horror, on a scale from 1 to 5. This means that the image in the top left has the lowest rating in both liminality and horror, and the image in the bottom right has the highest of both, making it the ultimate liminal space. I will explain each entry and its position, starting at the top and going from left to right. Please note that because liminal spaces are largely subjective, this chart is as well. I tried to be somewhat objective, but I've come to find that is a near impossible task when it comes to this aesthetic. Feel free to discuss how you would rank these liminal spaces in the comments. I love reading your opinions and ideas. With that out of the way, let's start exploring the Liminal Space Alignment chart. Bliss. Bliss is instantly recognizable, as it was the default wallpaper for any Windows XP operating system. It is mostly nostalgic, but something about it is extremely comforting. Perhaps it's the fact that Bliss is the most viewed image of all time, which makes sense if you think about it. The most remarkable thing is that the image itself is not altered or photoshopped. A photographer just witnessed this landscape on the perfect day, on the perfect time, and took the perfect photograph. While amazing, Bliss is only slightly liminal to me. The surrealness holds this liminal quality, but it feels very natural at the same time. Rooms by the Sea. Rooms by the Sea was painted by Edward Hopper in 1951. It depicts a calm and inviting scene, hence why it is 1 out of 5 on the horror aspect. The angle of this painting is slightly off-putting, as it looks like the door leads directly into the ocean. All of Edward Hopper's art has this mystical and surreal quality to it. Hopper takes American everyday scenery and turns it into an empty but inviting spectacle. Rooms by the Sea does the same thing, but with a quiet manner. I will say that when it comes to liminal spaces found in paintings, that its impact is less profound, compared to real photos and 3D animation. Snowy Day. Snow is a great baseline for many liminal spaces, as it provides a sense of comfort and nature. There is something so magical in how snow can completely transform a scene, changing its mood and feeling. Snowy Day gets a 3 out of 5 on the liminality scale, and I consider anything on level 3 or above as classic liminal. Classic liminal relies heavily on the feeling of anemoia or nostalgia for a place that you have never visited. Snowy Day is exactly that. It looks like one of the landscapes that I've walked through 1,000 times, but it's not. The camera quality immediately brings you back to younger times, a careless moment in reality. Minecraft Alpha. Minecraft Alpha was one of the earliest playable versions of Minecraft, released on June 30th, 2010. Minecraft, as you know, remains extremely popular today and became a lot more advanced and complex. It is an amazing game, but playing it makes me realize how much of its original magic has faded away. Microsoft can keep adding new blocks, features and biomes, but Minecraft will never feel like it once did. Looking at Minecraft Alpha gameplay makes me instantly nostalgic, as it reminds me of the first time I played Minecraft. There's something so inviting about this weird and blocky world that is all mine to explore and transform. My favorite place. Have you ever been to one of these outside-in buildings? My favorite place depicts one of those, and it feels like a place I've both visited in real life and in my dreams. It feels like we are in the outside world, but in a safe and confined environment, where we don't have to worry about what is actually going on outside. I always love the big indoor yard buildings like this have, especially this one with the presumably fake plants and bushes. I highly suspect that this liminal space made you think of another, way more famous one, so stay tuned. Urban Hell. With Urban Hell, we enter the second row of the chart, where the entries are 2 out of 5 on the horror scale. These next 5 images provide a slight discomfort, but I wouldn't say that there's anything threatening about them. Urban Hell makes me question whether this image is real or edited. I am familiar with Eastern European architecture on the one hand, but something is off on the other. Upon further research, I found that this image is real and is a building located in the Philippines. There is a whole subreddit for imagery that conveys the same feeling as this one. r/Urban Hell depicts many depressing instances of architecture where convenience and the quantity of buildings and apartments is favored over livability and aesthetic. Urban Hell is unsettling, and it's truly sad to think how many people live like this. ChatGPT. With the rise of AI image generators, one can only beg the question, can AI create liminal spaces? The answer is yes, and the results are pretty interesting. It seems to be somewhat of a hit-and-miss situation when it comes to asking ChatGPT-4 for liminal spaces, as it makes both good ones and ones that don't deserve the word liminal at all. This one in particular, I dub it the endless parking lot, is somewhat liminal. ChatGPT seems to like combining bright and vibrant colors, which is not something I would normally categorize liminal spaces by. The endless parking spot is however less vibrant and adheres to somewhat unsettling purple glow. There's no end in sight, and there's not a single spot that is occupied. Perhaps the image's cartoonish quality helps with its liminality, as I don't feel this as a place on Earth. With this image in mind, it will be fascinating to see what liminal spaces AI will create in the future. Gabrielle Salonga. Gabrielle Salonga is a visual artist from London who makes surreal and dreamlike landscapes. Her art features a lot of pink and purple and seems to be located in a heaven-esque realm. She knows how to play around with emptiness really well, combined with the presence of megastructures and infinite landscapes. I find her art comforting, but it does make me question reality. Why is this dream world so pristine and perfect? Is this what heaven looks like? I don't know if I would like heaven if it looked like this, as my mind keeps wondering what these structures are actually for. And this ladder leading into a pit of nothingness? Why is it there? One thing is for sure, these artworks are astonishing and they set an incredible standard for contemporary art. Liminal Mart. Liminal Mart is a classic. What we are looking at is not a real supermarket, but instead a dummy that is meant for testing the layout of all the items. All the food you see on display and in the shelves is fake. This image makes me feel like I am entering a derealization episode. It is as if I'm squinting my eyes slightly, making my vision a little blurry and the bright light from the shelves even brighter. I've never really thought about it before, but the amount of space between where the image is taken and the food on display is rather large, especially for a supermarket, even though it's fake. Liminal Mart is both minimal, but also overwhelming, a feeling I've had before while walking in a real supermarket. Grasslands. Grasslands is essentially the evolution of Windows Bliss. Some might call it a de-evolution, as it represents Bliss without its perfection. The blue cloudy sky has been removed, there are 4 windmills in the background, and the grass looks both more and less realistic at the same time. The windmills in the background loom over the large field, and they give this image this sinister feeling on top of the comfort they are supposed to provide. You can confirm Grasslands its mystical quality by exploring all the Backrooms lore and stories that have been written about it, as it is often described as a safe, endless field of grass. The Smile Room. With the Smile Room, we enter the 3rd row, where the horror aspect is rated 3 out of 5. These images are the ultimate mixed bag of comfort and discomfort, which provokes a feeling of anxiety. How can an image be so inviting, but scream anxiety at the same time? The smile room is passable as a liminal space, as it is nothing special. I have seen enough abandoned buildings, but this one in particular is quite unsettling. The naming of this room sits not right with me. What do you even need a smile room for? It is hard to imagine that there is anything nice behind that door frame, but one can only hope so. Liminal Winter. Liminal Winter does something for me. On the one hand, it's a blurry picture taken in a winter landscape, but on the other, something deeply disturbing is happening here. I do not know why this image scares me, but it does. There's something lonely about these 4 huts scattered in a landscape of nothingness. I like that the image could have been taken anywhere, because it doesn't contain anything that could be immediately categorized as American. The grainy sky and filter is what gives this image an extra dimension, setting it apart from all the boring attempts at capturing a liminal space. You should not view this 2 out of 5 as a bad liminal space, because it's not. Every image on this chart is liminal, some just more than others. Hotel Pool. Hotel Pool finds itself in the center of the chart. The image was captured at a Holiday Inn hotel in Winnipeg, Canada. The first thing you notice is the weird lighting. There's no lighting above the water, and a little on the side. This lighting, but also the style, makes us feel like the interior of one of those doomsday bunkers with the replicated fake nature. I used this image as a reference point when I made this chart. I had to find an image that came across as both peaceful and stress-inducing, while not being too bright nor dark. Hotel Pool hits all the liminal spots, and as much as I would want to swim in that pool, something tells me that I shouldn't. Jared Pike. Jared Pike is known for his 3D art depicting the Dream Pools, a fictional world of endless shallow and transparent pools, accompanied by these white square tiles. Swimming pools and pretty much any kind of body of water always had a special place when it comes to liminal spaces. It is safe to say that Jared's art had a massive impact on the internet and spawned many other images, stories, and ideas. The dream pools are always very bright, but we never get to see the source of any of this light. While bright, Jared's art also contains many sinister dark spots that make you wonder where they lead to. It is not often that a liminal space is so extremely inviting that you just want to explore its universe and see what it has to offer. This hospitality comes with a price, as I have a strong feeling that there's more to the dream pools than Jared Pike has showed us. That might sound a bit too backroomsy for some of you, but I think that the idea works really well in a world that is so conflicting when it comes to comfort and discomfort. I would almost say that I regret giving it 4 out of 5 when it comes to liminality, but I view 5 out of 5 liminal as a one-time experience where reality or surreality is captured in its perfect moment. I don't feel safe here. This is a weird name because I kinda do. It is amazing how depressing this image is on first viewing, but there's just something so familiar about it that makes me forget its depressing quality. You're walking a path that many people have walked before, indicated by the snow. It is foggy, a little grey, and you're not sure whether it is late at night or very early in the morning. I don't feel safe here feels like an image of my mind. It is something you would show someone if they asked you to visualize derealization or depersonalization. And in all of this image's darkness, I still see some light, some feeling that makes you feel at ease when walking this snowy path. The feeling that maybe everything will turn out right, even though things might not seem like that right now. The basement. I'm almost sad that we have to move on from the last one, but here we go. The basement introduces us to the 4th row, where we move away from conflicted comfort and enter the realm of unsettlement. I'll be honest, the basement is not very special. Yes, it's unsettling because it's a seemingly abandoned basement, but we have seen those before. All 5 images in this column are still liminal, but it's safe to say that this one is the least liminal out of all of them. Perhaps the basement is just a palate cleanser, so we can prepare for what's to come. KC. KC is an image taken in the Valley View Center Mall, located in Dallas, Texas. The image depicts this large statue of an eerie-looking man with what looks to be a distorted face. The actual statue is not distorted, but it's definitely nightmare fuel. I hate how off-putting the statue was when I first saw it, as it is just so out of place. KC is somewhat liminal, as it is an abandoned mall. Its eeriness is what shines, because this demonic creature cannot mean anything good. The Backrooms. The Backrooms is by far the most famous entry, a whole universe that started with a single image. Everyone knows how it started, so I'm not going over that again. When I refer to the Backrooms, I mean level 0, the original version with the mono yellow wallpaper. This image is just loaded with fake nostalgia and nightmares. The image itself is iconic, but I would argue that the text that accompanied the original image is even more iconic. The Backrooms might have started the liminal space trend, but the story made the whole concept go viral. It was quite hard to decide where the Backrooms belonged on a liminality scale, but I ultimately decided on 3 out of 5. It has that classic liminal feel, but I'm afraid that its uniqueness has worn off. There's nothing wrong with the Backrooms, but whenever I view the image or any of its endless iterations, I just know that there are better and more interesting liminal spaces out there. Terminal 4. Terminal 4, an image you have definitely seen before, is a Holiday Inn in London Airport Heathrow. Terminal 4 is, besides the Backrooms, one of the first liminal spaces I ever witnessed, and it still has an impact on me to this day. This fake courtyard is so unsettling, it makes me feel like I'm trapped here. There's no apparent escape, and there are so many windows where people could be watching from. I would love to visit this hotel and view this view, as I want to see if the real-life version is just as unsettling as the image. Terminal 4 comes close to being the perfect liminal space, but some of its contenders beat it. Underwater Chair. This image comes from r/chairs underwater, a subreddit that depicts submerged chairs. If you have submechanophobia or thalassophobia, you might find that certain images on this subreddit make you feel anxious or uncomfortable. This feeling obviously extends beyond chairs, but there's just something about an everyday object, such as a chair, being in a place where it does not belong. r/chairs underwater is pretty much represented by this one image, the underwater chair. The image was taken by a group of divers on the bottom of the ocean. The fact that nobody knows where this school chair came from really makes you wonder. How is it just sitting there perfectly, in a place no one ever visits? We are so deep underwater, and literally anything can be down here, and we stumble upon a human chair? Perhaps this is the real glitch in the Matrix, but it probably just fell from a fishing boat. Welcome to Hell. Entering the final row, we have what are in my opinion the most unsettling liminal spaces on this chart. I am not sure where Welcome to Hell comes from, but the only lead I have is a website called Horror Stock, where they use this image alongside their Backrooms fan story. The thing in the background or behind the window scares me, as I have no clue to what it is. Welcome to Hell doesn't contain any liminal aspects, but the red light and the creature we're seeing do unsettle me. Stairs to the Abyss. We're back with our submechanophobia, but this time with a partially submerged set of stairs. It feels as if this image is a screen grab of a horror game, but it's real. Someone posted a video on YouTube in 2020 where they explore a large abandoned mine, and they come across these stairs. Stairs to the Abyss is a great example of an image that is way more unsettling than liminal, as I don't feel the oddness I feel when viewing Terminal 4, for instance. Looking at something that is submerged just feels extremely wrong. Super Mario 64. Super Mario 64 was released on June 23rd, 1996 for the Nintendo 64. The game is truly uncanny to me, as it has this lonely and empty atmosphere. This vibe it has is completely unique to Super Mario 64 and is never found or felt in any other Super Mario game. The game's strangeness comes from many factors, but the style and the music seem to be the main cause. Every level is like its own limited box floating in space, designed with a low poly model that has a somewhat unsettling resemblance. Then there is the music, which for many people is incredibly nostalgic. You can pretty much take any level, screenshot it, and chances are that it's slightly liminal, especially when Mario or any NPC is removed, is when the liminality and the looming horror becomes apparent. In Super Mario 64, it never feels like I'm completely alone in a castle, feeling as if some greater force is watching my every move. No matter how one explains it, something sinister in the background is happening. Anemoiapolis. Anemoiapolis, its first chapter, was released on Steam in 2023. If you are looking for the liminal game, this is it. Anemoiapolis is a horror game that lets the player explore an abandoned world with extremely off-putting properties. One example is the lazy river in chapter 1, where you have to navigate through a non-Euclidean maze. You can keep on making the same wrong turn forever and never progress. You might feel like Anemoiapolis is somewhat relaxing, but you're wrong. In many places you visit, the Shadow Man can be encountered. When you see him, it's only for a few seconds, making you wonder whether you actually saw him, or if it's just your mind playing tricks on you. Is it a good time for fishing? I mean, when is it not, right? You're now looking at the most liminal of spaces, the place I visit every night in my dreams. This image was taken by a professional photographer by the name of Peter Dawson and was included in his project called Nocturne. All of these 7 images are amazing, and almost all of them are very liminal. The first one, and the one we're talking about right now, is however otherworldly. The lake is perfectly still, making for a very clear reflection of the trees. Everything is so well lit, while seen in the middle of the night. The forest is so inviting that it scares the living hell out of me. I know this is a real image, but there's just no way that this place exists on this planet. Is it a good time for fishing is truly a place in between, a place so perfectly threatening that it exists beyond the realm of reality, stored in a higher, unknown consciousness. And that brings us to the end of this intriguing chart of liminality. I hope you enjoyed this weird video. If you like the content I make and want to support me, please consider subscribing and commenting. I love reading your opinions and ideas, so don't be shy to share them. Anyway, that's all for today. Thank you so much for watching.